Hello, everyone. Welcome to Eric Hunley's channel. My name is Spidey. I am joined today by fellow... You guys are let me hang? I said like a second, guys. Come on now. There we go. So, that's so good.
Oh my God.
I really thought I was just going to be able to like straight face just get through it. Okay.
I'm not sure if there's anybody watching. I got to check the stream and make sure it's live.
Are you even live?
I don't know. I'm not seeing anybody. So hang on.
Oh God, that was hilarious. It says live though.
It says we're live.
No, we're there. We're there.
I know, but I'm okay. 103 people are watching according to YouTube, but I'm not seeing it here, and I don't see the chat going. So this is a very odd situation.
No, the chat, the physical chat. The chat's awesome. Like our back end chat.
Yeah, our back end chat. We don't see anything.
No, what's going on?
Wave.video. Okay, so this is going to make for a very awkward appearance. Okay, I see the chat in another window. No, I can't see any chat. So I will be talking to the developer on that. Folks, bear with us. I won't be pulling chats on the screen, obviously, but I will try to mention as I go. But you know what? That gives us a lot of time. Everybody note that I've got a problem with the chats and pulling them on the screen. So if you don't want to super chat or anything, that's fine. I actually have to make up for super chats for last week. I feel really guilty. I didn't get a chance to read them. But I also want to start off this stream because I'm really excited. Rob, Spidey, guess what I got?
You have.
What do you have?
Well, first, I have legal Bytes. Hey, Alita.
Hi.
I have my first sponsor.
Oh.
Ooh.
Look at that.
And this is awesome because I wanted to have a sponsor, and I'm glad that it's not an annoying sponsor. This is something I actually believe in. I don't tell anybody what my day job is, but I work in IT and in technology, and I run a lot of YouTube shows. So this sponsor fits perfectly within my background. It's ExpressVPN. And Spidey, Alita, you guys both, well, you spend time outside of your home country, right?
Yeah.
Spidey, you have a place in the U.S. Alita, you live overseas right now.
Mm-hmm.
You can't watch any content from your home country when you're outside of your home country. A VPN. A VPN solves that problem. Exactly. And the cool thing about this is ExpressVPN, like other VPNs, it prevents any ISP or anything else from seeing your browsing activities.
Oh.
And what a VPN does, a lot of people don't know what it is. My other show partner, Mark, literally doesn't know what a VPN is. So it literally takes your traffic and routes it through other servers and encrypts it. So they have servers in another location like England or Canada or wherever in the world. I believe it's 96 countries. I'd have to double check my verbiage here. I get notes, but 94 countries. So if you hit any of the 94 countries, what happens is your traffic gets routed out of one of those servers onto the internet, and it's encrypted whoever you are. And they've been audited by PricewaterhouseCoopers, so that way they don't keep logs of your traffic. They literally dump the logs. There's no tracking of it in any way, shape, or form. So you're safe, you're secure, you're able to browse the traffic around the world at different locations and watch, shall we say, material that's not at home. Also, sometimes if you're researching things, I mean, Rob, this could apply to you, right? You might want to research a case, but just the fact that it's coming out of your location could be a tell to a client or to the defense or anybody else that, oh, they're looking into my stuff. So you can be rather innocuous and just seem like, oh, you're just somebody from whatever area, or you might come from an opponent's hometown or anything like that. So it's a good way to kind of hide your identity. It protects you from advertisers, websites, I'm sure everybody has gotten that whole Facebook creep phase where you go look at a web page somewhere, and all of a sudden, when you open Facebook, you're like, "Oh, wait a minute! I looked at Nikes and I bought a pair of Nikes, but now I'm going to see nothing but Nikes for the next 3 weeks."
Yeah.
VPN stops all of that. So.
I've been suggested a lot of Andrew Tate content over the last couple of days, and I would do anything.
I would.
Anything.
That's terrible.
Anything. It used to be like Legal Bytes, Behavior Panel, Law and Lumber. Now it's Andrew Tate this, Andrew Tate that. I'm like,
make it stop.
I want to not.
All right. Well, this is sponsored by ExpressVPN. Thank you very much. I have an offer code in the description of the video. There will be a pinned comment later, and there's a pinned chat. If anybody wants to try it out, it's 3 months free. It helps the channel a lot. So thank you so much.
And Heather, whatever, thank you for the super sticker for $4.99.
Oh, thank you, Heather, whatever.
How are you seeing that?
We have a chat on the side. So I've got one over here. I've got to try to keep up with it. So now we get under the theme of the show. And I will also make up for super chats that I completely missed last week. I was really embarrassing. What was it, about 10 minutes after the show, I'm texting everybody saying, I forgot to read super chats. I've been doing YouTube now since 2020. That is the first time I've ever, I was just so into it and, flummoxed and we're into it. And I walked away. I was like, oh my God. Because I was trying to, put them aside to keep with the flow. And I'm really, really embarrassed about that. So I will try to get those fed in as well as we go. But this is all about feedback. And last week surprised me. I spoke to everybody ahead of the show and I said, I'm really kind of tired of talking about SA and DV and
heavy topics.
They're heavy. But we're still going to stay on the Manson track because we kind of have been doing a little Manson series. So here is an opportunity to cover something that I thought was light and silly with Corey Feldman and his wonderful Today Show appearance that Rob will carry with him for the rest of his life. And I thought, it's funny. Okay, I'm sure that, I don't want to be made fun of for et cetera, but I would expect to be made fun of for certain things and whatever, get over it. I made fun of a lot. Believe it or not, I read a lot of comments that talk about my weight, my follicle, that they're running from my head as fast as they can and everything else. Yeah. I've heard it. That's fine. I get over it. So I did that thinking, okay, it'll be a good show. But I decided to, I got this Manson video and it's kind of dark, but I really should go over that one too. And that's why I did that at the end, because I was like, okay, you know what? It was an essay or whatever, but it was dark and was interesting. So I brought it up for you guys to check out. Now, I get a lot of support from the pro-Manson community because in general, I've been questioning the accusers and things like that. So which video do you guys think I figured I'd be getting some heat about?
The Manson video.
The last one?
Yeah. Yeah. And I was nervous, right? I'm like,
yeah,
oh boy, this is going to be a treat. And I think I texted you, Spidey. I said, well, we'll have to see how this goes because I'm going to do this, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Judging by your facial reaction, I'm guessing we're wrong.
Of course. Otherwise, it'd be a boring subject.
Good job, bro.
Body language expert. I am amazing.
Can I go? Am I done here?
Yeah, there you go.
I gotta start figuring out how to make things out of wood.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, I got no flack, none about the Manson video at all. But I got to hear all about
Corey
our
Feldman.
treatment of Corey Feldman.
Poor Corey Feldman.
And it was insane. It literally was insane how much flack I got. Now, Spidey, I know I was sitting there going, I know Spidey reads the comments. I should tell Spidey don't read the comments. But then I know Spidey, if I tell Spidey don't read the comments, that will make him read the comments even faster. So it's just kind of like
you would think I studied psychology long enough to not fall into that ruse.
Yeah, right. I get text message from Spidey at like 11 at night. Did you see this comment?
One comment like 6 hours ago. Did you see it? Did you see it?
Yep. And so I was kind of like, you know what? I'll just kind of shut up about it. And, at that point be like, and hope he just looks early because I saw a trend going here. And it was completely crazy. But I've had a really long week. And I guess I'm being selfish or whatever. My day job has just killed me. I've got about, I don't know, I had 60 hours in 3.5 days or something. I even forgot how many. But I'm tired and I'm a little grumpy. And I was like, okay, you know what? I'm getting accused of things in the comments. And it's kind of frustrating, especially with the Corey Feldman stuff, because before I did the show about the video and everything, I found out, you know what? There's more information out there about Corey Feldman. There's more controversy out there about Corey Feldman. But all I remembered was that Corey Feldman had a really bad childhood and had some things happen to him, and I felt really bad. So I decided we're not going to do that. Okay, I'm not going to bring all that up. I'm just going to talk about what? The Today Show experience and his story about Marilyn Manson and the spies, because it all sounded kind of silly. Well, I got accused of just picking on him, being completely insensitive, being horrible, being everything else. So let's go through it. And then maybe we'll talk a little bit more about Corey Feldman, because I guess I'm counterintuitive. If I'm accused of doing something,
I don't have to listen to him again, though, do I?
No.
Ooh, Rob is just committing. Rob is just committing. He's like, we can do anything we want as long as I don't have to watch that again. Like Eric just said,
you know what? I just know that Eric is
Rob's like,
pissed.
So anyway, if I'm going to get accused for it, you know what? Let's talk. So let's look at some comments.
Hold on. Before we look at this, there's two things I want to say real quick. Go back to where we don't see that, because I want two things. One, I think it's borderline a compliment. Like the undertone of people getting upset about this is a compliment, because people expect serious analysis from us. Like I think they've come to expect that they're going to get intelligent commentary, not just a bunch of friends hanging out talking about stuff. And truth of the matter is, when we hang out, before these streams or backstage or whatever, there's a balance. We talk about serious stuff, and then we just sometimes hang out and shoot the shit, make some jokes. And that's the side you got last week. And I know that that's not the part you expect of us, but we're human. That's part of our lives. Can you imagine that, like, if we get together, that all we do for like 8 hours in a row is just talk serious analysis? We wouldn't be able to stand each other. So it was a little more casual, a little more laid back. The second thing, and this is just me appealing to the humanity in the commenters, for some YouTubers, not all YouTubers, but for some YouTubers and on certain days, try to keep this in mind. All of you look in the room in front of you right now. Just look in your peripherals at the room in front of you right now. You see shapes and colors and different types of things. Now, tune into the frequency of the color red. Just think red. And notice how you spot everything that's red, because your brain is being tuned into that frequency. Sometimes when we go through the comments, we're having a bad day, whatever. Maybe we had a, tough day at work in Eric's case, or a little argument with a loved one. And our frequency is in that negative headspace. And as we scroll through, there could be so many comments that are positive, but if your mind is on that frequency to where you're feeling less than amazing about yourself, those comments are really going to stand out, the ones that are going for your heart. And you know us. You guys watch us. You know us. You know what gets us. You know how sometimes there are certain commenters, they just know how to pick at the right wound. Just be aware of that. Sometimes I know and I get it that we were picking at someone else. So that's where you were coming from. Just be aware that sometimes it's, we wake up, we have an important day. I go on my phone. When I was younger, I started YouTubing when I was like 18. I'd get up, I had an important day at school, I had an exam. I get up and I see a thing that's like, this guy effing sucks. I hope you close your channel. And I was like, what? Like, and that could just ruin the day. So just be aware of that. That's all. Love you all.
I agree. I have an analogy that comments for me, and I think a lot of people are sort of like a down mattress with two nails most of the time.
Wow.
So, I'm rolling around soft and all I can hear, everything is beautiful and soft and floaty, but I keep rolling on those stupid nails.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's kind of where it is. But okay. There's a lot of comments. You know what? I feel like we've been.
I haven't seen any of these, so now I'm like, what are we in for?
Oh, they hate us.
There's
Really?
a lot of comments. All right, so let me see here. This is going to be fun. All right, we'll start off.
Keep saying that word. I think it has a different meaning than the one you think it means.
I don't think you understand what that word means.
We'll start off right here, right from the jump. This is a really early one.
Wow. Okay, so we're just starting right for Spidey. Let's go.
Zoom in.
I can't.
It's one of the first ones I saw. I know it's hard, so I'm going to read them out loud. And by the way, folks, I'll let you know ahead of time. I might have a mocking tone when I read occasionally.
No, let's go. Let's go. You know
Scott
what?
was in the neighborhood
I
with
will
a super
take this
chat.
grenade. I will start this. Let's go.
Let's go.
Read it.
All right.
Grenade, go.
I'm unsubscribing, Spidey.
Oh no.
Oh,
I expected more from you. You don't know who Corey Feldman is, but you're happy to listen to your pal slating him. For YouTube likes? Nah, this is way below par for you. Maybe research your subjects before you take the piss out of them. Eric clearly knows who he is and is happy to rip the shit out of him. And that makes him worse. The lack of compassion for someone who is clearly very mentally complex due to a pretty traumatic life is alarming. And that started a nice thread here. Lily commented a lot in these, whoever she is. Same, disappointed with Spidey's lack of professionalism and half-ass analysis.
Okay, hold on.
Cringe.
Pause.
Sure.
Of my 3 colleagues here, for whom I have infinite respect, did any of you think that any of what I did last week was me doing an analysis?
no.
No.
Was that
Yeah,
professional Spidey at work looking at Corey Feldman and trying to write a document for a client that is going to give behavioral analysis of body language, speech analysis, behavior profiling? Was any of that? Well, I mean, listen, the two of you, thank you so much. Thank you for having this really high expectancy of me. I do appreciate that I disappointed you that much. Thank you for that. That the standard you have for me is amazing. Big hearts. But if you can't distinguish between when I'm being a professional analyst and when I'm just having fun, you should unsubscribe, because you're going to get pissed off a lot on my channel if you can't make that distinction. Thanks, guys.
No, this is awesome. Guys, jump in. I mean, I don't want to sit there and read. We can have reactions.
I can't really read it, to be honest.
We can't see. You got to pull it up. You got to zoom in.
Yeah.
Dude, it's zoomed in. If I do any more, then I can fit it on
That's a bit better. Yeah.
There, that's better. I can see that.
I know, but then let me see if I can make my window bigger to read it out.
No, making your window bigger is going to make the text smaller.
Well, I have to be able to read it, dude.
I can read it. Okay, now I can read it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Lily Fox, I'm kind of shook. Somebody commenting to Lily, because they have conversations about it. I'm kind of shook, as I really respected what he did with the Depp Heard trial. He was really professional. Same with Rob. But this, like school kids bullying the weird kid, not for me.
Yeah, no, that wasn't what this was.
Rob the bully.
Yeah, I'm the big bad bully.
Rob the bully.
No, I just don't like his music, and I was really uncomfortable.
You can have respect for the things that he has gone through in his childhood, and also say that he's a terrible musician. Two things can be true at the same time, and you are not a bad person for having a certain aesthetic taste in music.
Yeah,
I agree.
And performance. You know what? Performance. Think about it. Like, everyone's looking at me going, Spidey the behavior analyst. What about Spidey the performer? What about Spidey, the guy who's performed on the Today Show, TMZ, the Apollo in Harlem, New York, every freaking television show you could think of? What about that guy? Like, I'm an entertainer also, so maybe that's the part of me. I find it very professional. My professional performer was commenting on that performance, not the analyst.
Yeah. Oh, and it was just freaking ridiculous.
Yeah.
There's always that.
Yeah.
And then, somebody came in. It looks like they were defending us. 1,
Nice.
bad things happening to you does not make it right for you to do bad unto others. 2, he started out by indicating he was biased by the ridiculousness of the claim. Remember? 3, why comment about it? The unsubscribe button doesn't require a notice, you know. You can just leave. Bye, Felicia.
Who's that? I like that one.
That is Batman. That is Batman in comment form.
That's Saskia. Thank you,
Saskia, I
Saskia.
love it.
Angela Giroux. Exactly. I was really surprised about Spidey's lack of research beforehand, even just the basics. Okay, so I'm going to stop right there. How many times did I make it a point of saying, you guys come on, and I throw stuff at you?
I was asked not to research.
That is literally like when you send out that tweet to basically say we're doing this on Thursday. The number of people who tag me and comment, I can't wait to see what Eric throws at you today.
That's the premise.
The entire purpose.
That's why they're doing the show. I mean, okay, sorry. Even just the basics, especially since Corey's background is so complex and because Spidey just did the Teal Swan analysis. She's lesser known, but he did his due diligence. Keep in mind that I'm a huge fan and supporter of Spidey's channel. No ill intended. Okay, so at least there's sort of a compromise.
But there's a difference. Like, yes, I did my due diligence on Teal Swan because I was doing a feature piece on my channel about Teal Swan. So what you literally told me, don't do any research. Like, I want to throw this at you. I don't get what people don't understand about the fact that it was just super casual and we were just like, you know what? Like, if I did an analysis of Corey Feldman, would it be a different vibe? Yeah, it would. But is that what I was doing last week? No, I don't think that's what any of us were doing.
No, we were actually kind of taking a break.
Yeah,
literally trying to take a break, but and it goes on. You know, I want to point something out too, and this goes with the who's it, Saskia's comment, and it's a point I've made up when griping a little bit on the side. There are some things with Corey, and I could tell you there's a lot of people in the chat. At least one person that I'll be bringing up. Her name is Suzi, who has been dealing with the Corey Feldman, Corey Haim situation for a long time. And I have a philosophy, and I would love to hear your guys' take of it. There are a lot of people, and actually I'm going to bring it to screen because, again, I don't want to just be comments, and that can get boring.
Yeah, the Spidey bashing must.
Well, I got to savor the Spidey bash.
I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
That's right, man. We're here for it. All right. I've always believed in sympathy for children who have suffered in any way whatsoever. And I believe in the term, weep for the child. And I do.
Yeah.
But the question is, at what point is this no longer a child? At what point are we going to allow them agency for their own actions?
Wow.
And I'm going to talk about a child here really quickly. This is a child at a horrible time, okay? This child was born as No Name Maddox because his mother refused to even give him a name.
Oh.
His mother was a teen and an alcoholic, moved from one home to another as a child, prostitute from what I understand. He was severely neglected, kicked around everywhere. It was so bad that a particular story is she sold him for a pitcher of beer to get rid of him. He got an opportunity to watch her with all the men he brought home, or she brought home. Everything else, this child, okay? That's horrible. And I cry for that child.
Yeah.
So this child, when he became an adult, was not a nice person, believe it or not. And do we excuse this child for what he did as an adult?
Why do I know this name? Why do I know this story?
I feel like this person probably became a serial killer or something.
Why do I know this story? Eric, why do I know this story?
Like,
well,
the chances of all of us ending up knowing like who this person actually is probably pretty high.
Wait, hold on. They're American?
This is an American, yes.
Eric, are you telling us your life story?
Oh no. Now I'm already upset about the comment section to be struck by my co-hosts. Oh my God.
Hey, listen, you started with shots fired in my direction. I'm just a mirror. I'm kidding.
The chat is spoiling it for me. They're
see
I
that.
would
giving the
guess, I would
answer.
guess Manson. What came to
Yes.
mind was Manson.
It's
Okay.
Charles Manson.
I would guess Charles Manson.
Okay. Now I'm just pointing that out. Now, obviously, I'm not calling Corey Feldman Charles Manson.
No.
Not even. I mean, that's ludicrous. But I'm just taking the same logic that I feel people are putting in my face or at us and saying, okay, so at what point are you allowed to criticize?
Yeah.
Okay, is it 21? We stop it off there. 24, 28? At what point do we say, okay, yes, that all happened, but at some point you're responsible? And I'll bring up Amber Heard.
No, Eric. I mean, Eric, you don't have to. The thing is, you limited it by age, and it's not even that. At
Yeah,
what point do you
I
have to
was gonna
tip
say the
around
same.
every aspect of this person's very existence? I mean, they go outside. Do we now have to not honk our horn around this person or in traffic when we're near this person because they would be offended or they might think the horn being honked is offensive to them? No, you exist in the world, period.
Yes.
And there are consequences for your actions. There are, you go out and do something, you try something, you fail, and people might laugh at you. People might make fun of you. It has happened to all of us at some point, sometimes very, very, very publicly, right? It's not fun, but yet that's the world we live in, regardless of how like what kind of trauma you've been through. You've got to handle the world. The world doesn't owe you any sort of responsibility to handle you.
Totally agree. And by the way, I'm I'm as sensitive as anybody here. I'm sitting there watching earlier today. I was like, oh great, I'm bleeding subs again. All right, so super. And the subs I was bleeding are, in the tens. I'm very fortunate. I'm so happy to have thousands of people. But I notice if 10 people leave, believe me, I notice. I'm very concerned about all of this. But there's a certain point. It's like, okay, well, I've got to address things, and maybe I've got to take a stance or state an opinion or say to hell with it. And I sat there, and they's comments, there's still plenty. Don't worry, we're getting right back to it. There are plenty.
Also, when Feldman did that performance, he knew he was opening himself up to that, And I would like to say to anyone who's like looking at this going, oh, you guys are a bunch of bullies, you're being so mean. You were all cheering us on when we were saying, mean things about Amber Heard. Is it just because you don't like her and you like Corey Feldman that's where you draw the line because of your personal preference? I'm sure Amber Heard had a tough childhood, but you were very okay with us bashing her because you don't like her. What's the difference?
I agree. Let's see. Can you guys see these all right? We can scroll and you can pick on any that you want to see. Okay. This is not deliberate to get at you, Rob. This is to mock the person who said it.
It's not gonna get. I did something to kind of help improve your mood. I turned on party lights.
Oh, hey, nice.
Oh man, I'm gonna do that. My light in the back has like features for like blinking and stuff. I'm gonna do party.
I don't
light.
have any cool lights. I'm feeling really left out.
You live in like a third world country,
I think I see that. Is that the
I
one? Is it
don't.
why won't Rob address being gay?
Sorry,
Yes.
I'm just joining the comments and like dissing all of you so that.
But look who said that. Rob, look who said that. Okay.
Moose Nut?
Yeah. No, if an account called Moose Nut is asking that question, it has to make you pause. And by the way, this account was eventually Secret Squirrel had to ban this account. They threatened her and were coming in as different users. And I don't know what the deal was with this. This was in the chat last week. Last week was just a crazy time. Mm-hmm. And I have no idea, but I do find it ironic that somebody who would lay ridiculous claims about other people, like, number one, even if it's true, who cares? Number two, it would be sort of like saying, my account's Light in the Loafers, and I'm calling Spidey gay.
Well, what? Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. It was
He was
five
too busy
times,
reading the
okay?
comments.
It was just 5 times. It doesn't count.
Oh my god. Oh.
Hold on. You know what? There's an ambulance setting to my light. I think this is appropriate because like somebody get an ambulance. We're about to grill some mofs.
Yeah, no, Rob got roasted. You know what? Yeah, Moose Nut, you available? Like, just no.
Moose Nut. You know what? That may not be a diss. I think Moose Nut is asking Rob on a date.
Maybe because he kept going. That was the whole. I mean,
yeah. That's the only reason why someone would be so interested in that, right?
Yeah.
Apparently,
Moose Nut wants some wood.
Oh.
Nope.
No slumber in that lumber.
Spidey went there. Nope. That's a big old. Oh.
Oh my god. Okay. This is too freaking funny. All right. This one I love though.
My goal is to get more unsubscribers from this stream than from the last stream.
Oh god.
Hopefully on your channel, not mine.
No, my channel. I want people to be like, I want the comments of this week to like put last week to shame and be like, I will never watch another Spidey video again.
Well, I don't know. The chat seems to be okay with this.
Oh, they're fine.
Adriana the pickle. I love it. Oh god. Okay, so this one I love. Roland special sauce. The only problem I have is you guys trying to be woke. There's a few times also where Manson was joking that you guys seem to take seriously. Corey's a Looney Tunes, and who knows if Manson really did that stuff to him. I never knew I was woke.
Wow.
I'm seriously.
I sleep a lot.
I think some people have a hard time distinguishing between woke and empathetic, perhaps.
Oh.
I don't know.
I guess.
I also am trying to remember the Manson clip that we went over last week.
It was when
it was the interviews.
Yeah, it was an interview when he talked about holding a weapon inside of an editor's mouth when he was really
remembering this. I've been watching a lot of Manson interviews, so.
Well, we actually went through like several of them to say, okay, well, that was him drunk out of his gourd.
Oh,
and then yeah.
I remember. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, I was worried. I'm like, oh great, that's not going to go over well, but yeah.
But yeah,
anyway.
yeah. No, I think that some people have a hard time understanding when people are just speaking empathetically, and they take that as like being woke. And I think that there is an overlap sometimes, for sure. You can be woke and empathetic, but being empathetic is not necessarily being woke. Being woke is not necessarily being empathetic.
Agreed. And Alyte, I mean, you've been off my channel for a couple of years. Have you ever thought of me as being of the woke crowd?
No.
I know that some people in the I've seen some LawTube viewers comments and stuff say that they call me liberal bites. I don't know what I've said.
I've had conversations with Alyte like separately and off of live streams.
I mean, it's I try to just kind of mostly stay away from politics, but I guess it's like when I speak empathetically or something, people are like, there's liberal bites. I don't know.
My favorite comment is always the one like, I can't stand A, B, C, D, E. I can't stand Law and Lumber. I can't stand legal bites.
I honestly can't stand legal bites.
Good. Love it. Fantastic.
Bye.
Thank you for announcing that.
You're allowed to have your opinion, just like you're allowed to have a belly button.
Oh, this is an option. I cannot have this.
You never know, man. I mean, we have
confused about that.
We have procedures
to have a belly button.
There are procedures that can do a lot of things. And
also, I do want to say this, and I don't know if I speak for all of you, and I would actually love to know, all three of you, if this is a thing. Because it is for me. When I get on stage in front of a corporate audience of doctors, and when I get on stage at a college like sort of frosh week show, back to school, my demeanor is different. I speak different. In one, I'm going to be more, sort of bigger vocabulary, slower sentences, and the other one will be a little bit rowdy and loud. And it's the same on YouTube. Like, we're aware of our audiences, and I'm not going to say I'm aware of my audiences. That's why I read through the comments a lot of the time, Eric. I want to know what the response. I want to know what my audience is saying, because I cater to that. I'm not saying I change my opinion, but the way I speak, the things I allow myself to say, or the ways I allow myself to say it, I know my audience, and I'm speaking to my audience. I know my subscribers. I'm in touch with them. I respond to comments. It's important for me to know who I'm speaking to. So sometimes it's just a question of that. So I would like to know, for the three of you, and this is a valid question, I think, I'd be curious to know, is there any of that you guys sort of shift with your audience, or is it like, this is my opinion, this is what I am, that's it, too bad, take it or leave it?
I'm a little bit, I don't change who I am at all for anybody on the live streams. I will be a lot more silly and a lot more fun. Like, to think that I wouldn't change. You think I act this way in court? You think I lean back like, Judge, Judge, yeah, sure.
What up?
You want to... That was so cringe, Judge, that person should be yeeted off of the stand and motion.
You bring your soundboard to go in front of Judge Oscarati.
You know what, Judge? That was a bullshit motion.
Your Honor, the opposing side is
Your Honor, you.
Well, there you have it.
Judge, if you are watching this, any judge, if you're watching this, that was a character. That was a character. That was not me.
It's him. He's like this.
It's him. It's absolutely him. It's real. It's real. 100% real.
Help us.
It's real.
Eric, you tell me.
Of course, I adapt. Now, I'm not going to change a core value, but if I cover a subject and people are fleeing, does that mean I'm going to change my mind about the subject? I'm going to think about the subject, but I probably just won't talk about it.
Yeah,
that's the way. It's sort of like that relative. It's like, or I have friends. I love my friends, right? Okay, some things we've settled it. We agree to disagree.
Yeah.
Why am I going to bring it up every time I go to meet them? Why do I want an unpleasant experience? So I kind of treat it like that. If I hit on a subject and it just, whoa, that didn't go very well. Well, what does that gain me? Nobody will want to be around me because I hate the subject, and I kind of want to have an audience, or why am I doing the show? So I probably will just not talk about the subject. Now, if it's borderline, because sometimes it's confusing, and that's why I have 4 channels, believe it or not. Because people will come to a channel and they'll say, hey, I really like this thing you're doing here on this channel. Okay, awesome. And then I do something else on the channel, like have crazy lawyers on who are talking smack, and they go, what the hell is this? I came here for body language. And then they're like, unsubscribe. Or I do laid back news and I cover topics that they don't like about, and they wanted the body language video, or they wanted the lawyers, but they didn't want my stupid ass talking about the news. So I have different channels. And I think it's very much the same way as any of us who have any degree of social ability, that when we're talking to this person, we talk about these things and we act this way. When we talk about another person, we act a different way in accordance to the relationships we've established.
I don't have social ability. I have a the unicorn. A unicorn is the mascot for my channel. I have no social ability.
Rob, you have wood.
Oh.
Alyte,
talk to me. Alyte, what's your answer?
My answer is no. I think sometimes I'll ask questions differently, or pose some possible points that are like taking like devil's advocate kind of position. But I usually will make it clear like what I actually think on my own, and that's usually based on my own interpretation of whatever situation. I mean, sometimes someone else can give you a different perspective, but I'm still I still need to feel pretty authentic with what I'm saying, and how I'm viewing things. And if there's a major like divergence between that, I mean, look, like I could decide to be hyper political one way or another and be super extreme and have a channel probably grow pretty quickly and get that like very highly monetized very quickly, but that would not be authentic for me, and I would feel like a complete fraud, and I would not be able to do that for you know, really much time at all, if any, right? It would not feel right with what I actually believe and what I actually think, and that disconnect wouldn't sit right with me.
Yeah.
I think the only way you can do that is if you're playing a character. You know, like Stephen Colbert when he was funny. He's a dick now.
Oh,
but,
God, yeah, now he's an a-hole.
There you go. There's an opinion. But he is. He's a smug prick. But back in the day, he played a smug prick. Maybe he was really good at it. But playing a character, then you're like, okay, we all know wink, wink, nod, nod. This is a character. And then you can go within the character. And I think that gives somebody maybe more flexibility.
Yeah.
But
I'm
on
not
here,
saying, I'm not saying I would ever.
me.
I'm not saying I would ever say the opposite of what I think. I don't want that in any way to be what people think I'm saying. Just I would present things a little differently. I might be a little more, you know, in the vibe that I say something or in the way that I say something. Some things shift, but yeah, I mean, our opinion, like I think it's our number one priority to present what we're seeing, because that's what an analyst does. That's what legal analysts do. Like that, you know, people are coming for that. So yeah, it would be completely crazy of any of us to give a different opinion than what we see, just to pander to the audience. I'm not saying that at all. Just sometimes things are presented a little differently in my case, you know?
Well, yeah, and as a performer, especially Spidey, I mean, you're not acting like Spidey the mentalist right now.
Right.
That would not be appropriate. You feel a little weird.
Nobody wants that.
Oh, chat's fixed.
Chat's fixed?
What?
No, chat's not fixed.
Chat's not fixed.
But at least I know how many people are watching now. That's a stuff plus.
True. Oh, but so Spidey, I was going to give you a great example of this one.
Yeah.
Go.
You covered Tate, and I know you had personal opinions about Tate.
Oh, yeah.
Like I know for a fact you had personal opinions about Tate. Not to mention, yeah, but you had to give it a fair assessment and you had to give a fair run at it. And people threw shade at you for doing that. But
I had to redo it. Dude, I had to redo it because my first analysis, which is still up, was like coming at it from like a little bit of like my personal opinion leaking through. And then I had to redo it. I had to do a live stream and say, all right, listen, that wasn't the way I normally do things. I'm usually more balanced. So I want to do this. And the original video is still available. Link is in the description. But yeah, like that's a great example, Rob. If I did a video where I was talking about Andrew Tate, I'll tell you what it would look like if it was me actually expressing myself. Rob, do me a favor, hit that bleep button and keep your finger on it for like 30 seconds. Go.
So Spidey is not only a member, he's the president of the Andrew Tate fan club.
Yeah. Love him.
What's funny about it is,
hold on. I want to clarify something. I was looking at a specific Andrew Tate, and that's what was getting me all riled up. Like a lot, you know, some subscribers said to me, like, please go watch this or please go watch that. And there's things out there on Andrew Tate that if you watch and you haven't seen any of the other stuff, you could look at certain interviews and go, okay, that was good. But then there's that 2%, that 5%, he calls it the 2 to 3%. But there's that content out there that's just like.
Have you ever heard of
me getting all worked up?
Have you ever heard of Gell-Mann amnesia? It's one of my favorite. Oh, it's one of my favorite phrases. I can't teach Spidey much. He knows a lot. But Gell-Mann amnesia was coined by Michael Crichton, and he named it after, as he put it, his friend Murray Gell-Mann, who was a Nobel Prize winning physicist, I believe, because then people would take it seriously. So he said, oh, yeah, it's his thing. And the principle is essentially, Spidey, you're an illusionist. You two are lawyers. How many times do you read, for example, Alyte, about some sort of legal principle or law in the news, and you're like, you're full of shit. You don't know what you're talking about. That's completely wrong.
Yeah.
Quite a bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Spidey, how often do you read, something about, let's say, what magicians do or illusionists do or how it works, and you're like, No, you're full of shit. You're completely
Yeah,
wrong.
and even more so with body language. Like you see, like in some article in a psychology blog, and it's like, oh, averting eye contact means someone's being deceptive, and you're like,
Yep. And over, right? So here's the fun part of this. This is the amnesia part. Then you read something that you don't know about, and you go, well, how dare they? That's just ridiculous. Not realizing that if the shit you know about is always wrong, well, who's to say the stuff you don't know about isn't as well?
Yeah.
ooh, wow,
Deep thoughts with Eric Hunley.
wow.
And that's what I love about it. It is like another variant of now I just forgot it, but I always mix up Gell-Mann and Dunning-Kruger. It's like Dunning-Kruger and a lot of other things. Like Dunning-Kruger is the whole as you start to learn something, you think you're an expert, and then the more expert you are, the less you know.
Yes,
you think
it's actually the good side of Dunning-Kruger. It's the fact that you don't know much isn't allowing you to be able to be like, no, that doesn't sound right. So here's what we do. From now on, if I need to read anything about law, I send it to you two just to filter it and tell me, yeah, it's good, you can read it. And if you guys need to read anything about magic, behavior analysis, or Boy Meets World, you run it by me first. I'll be like, yeah, that's 100%.
Alyte, do you get those late night text messages too? Like the one that is like, hang on, does this make sense?
No.
Sorry, Alyte, I'll start including you in that. I
feel so left out.
Well, late night for her is early morning.
That's true. That's true.
For her, be like, oh, I'm just waking up to Spidey messages. Hi.
That's okay. I don't take it personally, but yeah, feel free to send those to me too.
Sorry, it's just I've been listening to Andrew Tate content, so I didn't think women can be lawyers. So I'll adjust. I will adjust. I didn't know. I will adjust.
It's because we're too emotional. We're too emotional, unlike men.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Oh my.
All you're good for is having kids. Well, Alita's married. She's gonna have a kid, and her career is freaking inspirational.
Well, hold on.
So,
Before you start like sparking rumors, there's no
I'm a
announcements on anything
I'm a
like that yet.
He's projecting. No, Spidey's going to start covering Jordan Peterson next.
Alita is happily married and an insanely inspirational career woman, so it's possible to balance both. All I'm saying.
Kudos. Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic. And Spidey, so I'm going to have to see if you get triggered by Jordan Peterson, because a lot of people seem to, and I'm like, I just don't get it. It's like, okay, whatever.
So really quick, it's a quick opinion. I haven't seen that much of his stuff, but from the stuff I have seen, nowhere he doesn't trigger me anywhere near as much as Andrew Tate. And I'll tell you one of the reasons why. I think a lot of the time when he speaks, he provides data for his opinion, or like he says why he thinks that way. And I can't rip his basis. I could disagree with it, but I can't rip it apart as effectively as Andrew Tate, who supports his opinion. And if you saw my analysis, there were certain things that he backed up. Like he backed up gender roles by saying, look at a chessboard. But like he was saying how far women get as opposed to like how hard men have to work. And he goes, look at a chessboard. The king moves one spot at a time and the queen just goes zip, zip, zip. And I'm like, really? We're going to take life lessons from an enemy?
That was awesome.
And also, like, why is that the metaphor you drew? Because I can look at it and go, well, then men cower away in the corner, protected by pawns and knights and rooks, while women go get stuff done.
They're the ones that set up the system to protect them. Meanwhile, the women have to float around and do all the hard work. And how about the fact that when a pawn makes it to the end of the line, it usually turns into a queen? There's something there. Big analogy there. In chess, I don't know if you guys know this, in chess, if your pawn advances all the way and gets to the end, it could turn into any other piece that it wants to.
Yes.
And 90%.
And that's without even surgery.
Oh, now we're gendering chess pieces?
Yeah. No, we're
why not?
Well, I mean, we didn't really have to. They kind of did that back when chess was invented.
Right.
Oh,
yeah, they didn't know that one day that would be a thing. But anyways, how does that play into your metaphor? The fact that like the pawn, who's like just basic human, gets to the end to where they can upgrade to anything they want, and most often they upgrade into the queen, the most powerful piece. Hell yeah.
Right.
So yeah, I love the chess analogy. Women are more powerful. Thank you, Andrew Tate, for making us realize that. Sorry, I have leftover feelings.
No, what's so
I was going to say, none of these feelings have spilled over from your analysis
I'm
earlier this
bringing
week.
emotion to my channel. I'm sorry.
What cracks me up is I'm kind of like, okay. I mean, I saw him out there, and I'm just sort of like, Alyte, you've met many Andrew Tates. Being around the army, you've met a few Andrew Tates. I'm sorry, there's a certain group.
Wait, who was in the army?
Doesn't surprise me.
Who was in the army?
I'm
Alyte,
no
does
Mr.
Spidey know where
Bytes is.
Spidey? Yeah.
Mr. Bytes is in the army,
Yeah,
Okay.
Mr.
and
Bytes
I was in the army, if that matters.
Yeah,
but,
and so was my brother. My brother also. So
Yeah, our
like
brother.
there's a bit of army in my orbit, you could say.
And if you've been around army, a certain age group, you've been around some cops, different, there are. I've heard a lot of that before, and so I guess I'm just kind of like, okay, yeah, I've heard this, yeah. It's sort of like that drunk uncle. Whereas Spidey, I think you're far more forward thinking than a lot of my peer groups. So you're like, I'm offended, and I'm just kind of like, it's you are offended. Yes, but I think he does offend you, and that's fine. I get it.
Andrew Tate?
Yeah, I think he offends you. Absolutely. And I'm just saying that I guess I've heard that. I'm a Gen Xer. My father's of a generation. So some of this stuff, while I don't agree with a lot of it, it's like, oh, I've heard that before. And sometimes I think there's a little bit of hyperbolicness to it, but I just don't watch it. I'm just like, I saw the guy, I'm like, oh that again. Moving on.
I
There
mean,
will always
regardless of army culture, military culture, college culture. I mean, you come across those types from time to time anyway. Yeah. And I've honestly never given too much thought or worry to them, because I'm just kind of like, that's a small box way of thinking. I'm going to move on and go and do this other thing that's productive. Yeah. So I don't know. I've never, I don't know.
It's so amazing how like she's part of demographic that he targets, and her reaction is like, I don't care. He can keep doing this. I don't care.
Because it honestly doesn't affect me specifically, like it does. I do understand. I think some of like what he's kind of trying to do, I understand. Yeah.
Very clumsily.
I understand like the things, the dynamics, the social dynamics that he's kind of responding to, like there are many that are concerned about, men being allowed to be men, like this is something that is, today and however people like, when I say that, I understand there are multiple interpretations to that statement, right? Some people hear that statement and say that's alarming. Like boys will be boys is like a thing that has been like an excuse for bad behavior that is like very bad behavior, usually and oftentimes with like women being on the opposite end of that bad behavior. So it's like I say that like understanding that, but like at the same time, there's been so much focus on toxic masculinity, not much focus on toxic femininity. Those two they both exist. They both exist in this world. And just because, you have certain traits that are masculine doesn't necessarily mean that they are toxic. And so I think that in some ways there are some parts of our culture right now where people, they have a hard time with allowing men to be men as they naturally should be in certain respects, like without the negative side, like healthy men should be healthy men.
There's two right here. And I've never seen them ever lack respect for anyone. And that's what I'm saying. You're right, Alyte. There are always men like him. There will always be men like him. And even if he goes away, ban him all you want, there will continue to be men like him.
But don't ban him. That's my irritation. Don't ban him. Don't ban Alex Jones. Don't ban anybody. And that makes me crazy, because you know what? I want to see the offensive people. I want to be able to say, oh, you know what's really offensive? That person over there. And watch what they're mouthing off about.
Yeah.
And I was just talking with Nate, a good friend, Nate the lawyer.
Yeah.
And we were talking about Daryl Davis, who is a personal hero to me. Never met the guy, but he's a hero. I've tried to get him on the show. I love what he does. How many of you have heard of Daryl Davis? If you haven't, cool. I get to tell you another story. Daryl Davis is a blues musician out of the Baltimore area, and he was playing like a honky-tonk club, and there were a bunch of white guys watching him. And one of the white guys actually came up to him and said, I've never actually seen a black person play, because he was playing, you're actually pretty good. And he was like, oh, okay, yeah, whatever. And then it turns out, well, the guy was in the Klan. And what Daryl Davis has done, and I don't even know the number now, but I believe it's up to 70. He collects Klan ropes.
I've heard this.
This guy is amazing. And what he does is he just sits there and he talks to people in the Klan. And Spidey, you're into cognitive dissonance, right?
Mm-hmm.
The way he's so effective is because believe me, the language he hears, the comments that he hears, it would make all of us just want to crawl and kill somebody or go away. I mean, it's horrible, the worst comments ever. But he would keep talking to them, right to their face, talking to them, communicating. And what would happen is one after another would say, I hate all black people, for example, right? But you're okay. And as soon as it happens, it's broke. It's like a horrible spell that is put on people when they're young to where their minds are completely clouded. But as soon as they have to acknowledge that, yes, I hate all of one kind, but not you, and you're of that kind, now cognitive dissonance sets in, right? Because how can you say you hate? You can't hate if you like. And within a certain amount of time, it's not overnight, but it could be a year, it could be a couple of years. And these people are like as high as like Grand Wizard.
Well, and
wow,
that's a really
Grand Wizard. Imagine being in an adult thing, a group of people where adult wizard is a rank.
I don't know.
Yeah,
but
what are you saying, Rob?
That makes me think of, and this was great because Spidey, when you did your analysis earlier this week, there was a part of it that I loved, and it was the interviewer that was interviewing Tate, and he says, well, how do you know? And I was going, perfect question, because it gets him back to the foundation of his argument, and it makes him, if you have to backtrace your conclusion all the way to its corpals,
now you're
and you make them lay that foundation, you can dissect it, pick it apart, and you take everyone who has these preconceived notions or these conclusions that they've lived as facts, and it makes them question it from the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
How do you know
to do that?
Yeah. How do you know are the 4 magic words to anyone who's gaslighting or trying to manipulate you and try to push their opinion on you? How do you know?
Yeah.
That's it. It's very useful. I grew up with Middle Eastern grandparents, well, Armenian, but they were raised in Egypt, and Armenians specifically. I don't know if there's any Armenians in the chat. The older generation of Armenians really have this mentality where like they know everything. There's nothing they don't know. They're the experts on everything. They come around with everything. So it's
reminds me of my big fat Greek wedding.
Yeah, exactly.
The dad.
That's the Mediterranean. It's very,
They're not
very
that far
similar.
from each other, are they? I mean,
not far from each other
Not
at all.
too far.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Very similar mentality. It's that I know everything, how do you know has been a lifesaver for me ever since I discovered it. To where it's like, they give that opinion, you go, how do you know? And they can't really answer that because they don't have any evidence.
You know what it is? It's showing your homework. That's
exactly.
it's showing you show your work and how you got it's when you do math in school and in grade school or through high school, like you're supposed to show your work to the conclusion, and because otherwise, you don't get full points. So once you do that,
don't bring up grade school math right now.
No
I'll
good.
be, I'll be
Is that
traumatized
triggering?
as well.
Dramatic. There's trauma in Rob's face.
Trigonometry triggers.
But let's
Um,
just I'm sorry, Alita, were you done?
Trigonometry triggers.
Alita, were you
Oh, God.
No,
So
it's
bad.
I know. It's I'm getting ready for those eventual mom jokes that are going to be so terrible one of these days. No, but really, like, that's like what all of us do, right? Like that's how we have people either criticizing us for the things that we're saying or respecting us for the things that we're saying, because they're like, I mean, I see how you got there. I disagree with you, but I at least can respect the way that you got there.
Beautifully said. Absolutely beautifully said. And that circles back to Andrew Tate. I think sometimes he has decent points, just the most horrible way of defending them and building them up. And for me, that just doesn't work. Like, I want to know like how you got there, and there's ways to express it. So Alita, I agree with what you said earlier, 110%. I think to a certain extent, a lot of men have lost their identity in today's generation because we're not sure, like, what is expected of us. Do we do that old school, I'm a man thing? Do we try to be progressive in our thinking? It's very confusing to balance that, and I understand that. And there are men out there who are teaching wonderfully the underlying message that Andrew Tate has, but without being demeaning, condescending.
Oh my God, the chat came in. We have chat.
Yeah, I just saw that.
Oh, we can see.
Oh my goodness. Hold on.
Yeah.
I
We
can
have chat.
see you.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so wonderful. Well, no, this is a special. I mean, Georgina's such an amazing one. I hate having that and not. Okay, there we go. They fixed the overlapping issue, which is very nice. Thank
But they
you
don't
so
show
much,
the
Georgina.
full super chat though.
Well, I mean, we'll get there. We'll get there. Someday we'll
Yeah.
get there. We're
No,
trying.
But I mean, I can completely empathize with that. I mean, it's hard because it's like if you look to traditional structures for models, then a lot of people are going to say, "Whoa, that's going to the past. That's not good enough because society is moving forward and you are regressing." But then if you just kind of toss everything out, then it's like what are men left with to fully be able to understand like how to act in this world properly, that is like not abusing other people, but at the same time is respecting themselves.
You're right. There's a huge clash there because new thought can't undo millions of years of evolution. You can't just with new thought, like change the way we've evolved genetically to be. Testosterone makes you feel and think certain ways, and that's just in our blood. But on the other hand, you're right. We can't look at the past and be like, take lessons from the past for all things, because we're progressing. Things are changing. And sometimes the change in other demographics makes you change. For example, so as amazing women do amazing things, and women are no longer entirely responsible for child rearing and staying at home and taking care of the kids, and they're doing amazing things with their careers. And we have an amazing example right here. That kind of makes men question their role sometimes. And they go, okay, well, if the women are doing that, does it mean I have to shift as well? Do I have to shift, or can I stay in this role? So it's confusing. I get it, but the solution is open conversation, accepting tolerant conversation, not forcing your opinion, unfounded opinion, in aggressive ways, and saying things in ways that just are triggering. Yes, to get clout. Of course, people keep commenting, well, Andrew Tate just says these things to get clout and attention. Of course he does it to get clout and attention. I know that. But he has a giant demographic of suggestible.
But he gets it.
Teens.
That's the irritating part.
But of course
no, I'm saying though,
You mean
be honest.
he gets the fact that people are listening?
The fact that he succeeds in it is probably what irritates you. If he was a guy who was yelling in the corner of 300 subs, shall we say, that most people would be like, who?
No, yeah,
it would not be as irritating.
That attitude got him from 300 subs to millions and millions of subs. But that comes with a responsibility. Like, these are impressionable kids, and they're looking at this, and they might not see the hyperbolic tone that we see and go, oh, it's just.
So wait, somebody named Spidey's going to tell me about a coming responsibility. I wonder where I've heard that before.
What? What happened?
With great power comes great responsibility.
My uncle Ben taught me all this.
Okay, well, I'm going to jump now back to, because I did say that I wanted to. Why is that showing? Not showing. Okay, we'll redo this.
The only question I wanted to scream at Andrew Tate was, "Who hurt you?"
Yeah, this is the result of pain, and again, I would have no problem with it if it wasn't for the super impressionable demographic that follows him. I'd be like that.
Sorry.
I'd have Alita's attitude. Be like, yeah, it's just whatever.
Eric,
Okay.
did you find you were going to pull up?
I did, because I did want to get back to the Corey Feldman, because I have a lot of people in the chat who are like, "Oh, wait a minute, what the hell are you guys going?"
Sorry.
Because,
that was
no.
a big sidebar. That was a
Actually,
big
this is my favorite part of the show, and that's what's so hard to balance. Is I understand when people are watching, they're like, "What in the world? And how did we get from A to B?" But this is actually the fun, organic part of doing the YouTube, is to have these talks. But let's go ahead and address the tour, because I said, remember, this is a tour that was sabotaged by Marilyn Manson. So this is just Jezebel Sweet. She is one of the performers in Corey's band on the tour.
Wow.
And
Was
did
she
a
one
nice
of the
little tweet
quote
thread.
unquote spies, saboteurs?
Oh yes, the primary.
The main one.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh yeah, she is the quote prime one, and I also appreciate the fact that he made it a point to say that she was a stripper, because obviously we judge people on that,
Gotta change
right?
that battery 1 second.
And I do want to comment on that really quickly. A lot of people are making hay about Amber Heard being a stripper. Who cares?
We don't care.
That to me is the least of the issues, and I did want to throw that out there, because I didn't want to sit there and point out and criticize them saying, "Hey, she's a stripper," and then not acknowledge that people are doing that with Amber Heard. I don't care that she was a stripper. I think that's a side issue. But anyway, moving on to this, my thoughts on the Corey Feldman, Marilyn Manson situation, a thread. For anyone who doesn't know, I was a musician and vocalist on Corey Feldman's 2017 tour that he is claiming was sabotaged by Marilyn Manson. I also lived with Corey Feldman for over 7 months.
Oh my.
Wow.
Oh yeah, there's more to it. But anyway, he claims I was sent as a spy to infiltrate his home and tour, when actually we met through a mutual friend that he asked to seek female musicians for him. Besides his wife and myself, he hired 2 women from Musicians Institute and a music director from LA School of Rock. Corey Feldman calling anyone singing off key might be the most audacious thing I've ever heard. His wife is equally untalented. Those wrong parts he's referring to have been him attempting to play guitar and drums each night, despite the entire band begging him not to.
Whoa.
I worked hard teaching his wife how to play piano for the tour, while I myself learned how to play bass in less than a month after the 2 previous bassists quit out of embarrassment. He auditioned 2 other women who were much better than me. I was hired for being blonde and thin.
Oh my.
He didn't want to hire either of the musicians from MI because they didn't fit the look. I pleaded with him to choose women who could actually play, and did everything I could to help make a palatable show out of the worst music ever written, as did everyone involved.
Jeez.
The tour was actually pretty successful, and we sold out many shows. Yeah, because people were probably going, I got to see this train wreck for real. I quit immediately after my contract was over due to the abusive behavior of Corey Feldman himself. Myself and others have spoken about CF concerning SA, DA, non-payment, and other issues. The following tour, he and his wife were arrested for possession of drugs. The rest of the band quit and walked off the tour. He then claimed to be shutting the tour down himself to expose Hollywood P-words, and attempted to hold the names of child touchers ransom for $10 million. Our tour bus did not. This is important, Spidey. We talked about it. Our tour bus did not belong to Marilyn Manson. It was rented from a company, and Marilyn Manson was just one of many artists who had used that bus and driver.
That's what we posited.
Yep.
Now,
Corey Feldman is crying wolf again to get attention for his current tour. Now I understand it. Please stop giving that idiot money.
Wow.
I mean, to be fair, and this is just pushing back a little bit.
Okay.
Does she have the bona fides? She could still be an agent of infiltration. you don't
Oh,
know.
yeah, she's still a spy. She's still a spy.
You still have to.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of
That's why she
skepticism.
puts spy in quotes, because
Yeah.
then we'll believe that she's not a spy.
You are right, Rob. So I'm going to go to another point because, and I think I'm done with the comments for now. We get the point across, but there were a lot of them talking about how his friend died and everything else. His friend is Corey Haim, and his friend died of drugs, did this and did that. So let's go ahead and look at.
None of that.
Were we
we were not. No.
I thought
we were not.
We were
but
kind of clear.
right, but I want to point something out because he talks about his friend a lot. Okay, Corey Haim, and this is Corey Haim's mother.
Before Corey Feldman did the interviews today, you had called him a scam artist. After watching his interviews today, do you still feel that way?
I'm not sure if he is that. I mean, that's assuming a little bit too much. But his actions and what he's doing, I'm not buying it.
Right.
Not buying
What do you feel that he's doing? What are you not buying?
I'm not buying the fact that he needs $10 million to do a movie in order to name names.
Right.
That's what I'm not buying. He talked about it. Actually, he said he went to the police in 1993.
Yeah.
And he told them about it, and they didn't take it seriously. Well, you know what? The door opened up in Hollywood right now because of Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah.
Now it's a good time to do. Forget 1993.
You saw his tweet, I'm assuming.
Now this is 2017. Okay. There's more. I don't want to keep playing videos and get copyright hit on that.
I mean, but I is the 10 million thing, is that real? Why do I not know about
it is.
that?
He did finally sort of release his movie, and then he pulled the movie in the middle of the presentation. It was like a huge weird thing that went down. He was claiming that hackers had gotten a hold of it, and so he had to stop playing it at the premiere. But then others who were attending the premiere actually were like, "No, you have to go ahead and do this." And Suzi Q is in here. Suzi is one of the people who has been following this for a long time, and she has a channel. I'm going to put links to her channel and another channel, which is Always Sparkle, with specific interviews, not only with Jezebel Sweet, but other band members, the bus driver, people who are involved, that everybody judge for yourselves, right? Because I don't know any of these people at all, but there's criticism, there's pushback. I encourage everyone, and I will put the links in the description for after the show. Go watch these videos. They're smaller channels. Help get the word out and really look at things. So we're going to go a little bit further on this. And let me see. This is Corey Haim's sister. And I'm specifically bringing up Corey Haim because there's a lot of mileage about their relationship. And this is actually dealing with the documentary where he was needing the $10 million, et cetera, et cetera. And here's her comments on Twitter at the time. Ghoulish CF is releasing his doc for one night only to coincide with the 10th anniversary of my brother Corey Haim's death. Drama about needing security for releasing names and charging $15 to $20 for the privilege. All garbage. Who was threatening him? We know who abused my brother, and that person passed away. Is Corey Feldman seriously saying that whoever he names, which will be no one, will go after him? He needs dollars for this? If there was a person who we don't know, my brother isn't here to accuse. So CF could accuse anyone. It wouldn't matter. The women who accuse Weinstein, Cosby, Epstein did so without payment. That is bravery. What CF is doing is manipulative theft. I sincerely feel bad for him. He is so damaged. But he should talk about his own experience only. If he knows of criminal activity, he should reveal. This is where I think a lot of the contention comes in. Names without thought of compensation. It's a lie that my brother asked him to reveal the story if I die first. Revisionist history. My brother died of pneumonia. Did not know he would die. He and CF were not friends for many years when he died. Please, people, save your dollars.
Wow.
Now, there were other people who had claimed, and I have not had the time to get all of it in the chat, and that's why I encourage everyone to check out the other videos that Corey Haim died of drugs. Corey Haim died of pneumonia. It actually has been released publicly that he died of pneumonia. I don't believe anything was found. Maybe some cannabis, I don't know, but there was not drug stuff really found in his system. So again, I don't know all of this. I'm just pointing out that there is a lot more to the story.
Yeah.
And last week, by the way, I plan to have Suzi Q on and do an episode with her, so I can't have the effect, a proper timeline. There's a lot of history there. There's a group called the Wolf Pack who are critical, I would say, of Corey Feldman. Watching him, he accuses them of being the devil or demons or the like, and has brought out restraining orders against them. So there's legal battles. You guys might want to check this out too, Robin and Alita. There's a lot there. Suzi herself, I think I found that he tried to get a restraining order, or he got a restraining order against her, but then he got dropped because he didn't bother showing up in court. So obviously he wasn't quite as threatened at the time. Not really sure. But I didn't want to bring any of the other stuff up. I knew about the charges that Jezebel were saying. I knew about all that. And I said, hey, I don't want to go into that. Let's just talk about this silly movie. Or the silly accusations and this performance. So what do you guys think?
Well,
go ahead.
Yeah, Spidey, go.
Really quick. As much as I appreciate, Eric, you showing us, this and being like, yeah, there's two sides to that story. For me, listing things that make Corey Feldman a liar, a cheat, a thief, and all these things, to me, doesn't backwards justify what we did last week. What we did last week was humor. It was comedy. We're having a pleasant conversation. Yeah. He could have been the nicest person in the world, or all these things are coming out about him. To me, it doesn't make a difference because none of us were ill-intended. We were just mocking a silly performance that he did knowing he's going to get that kind of feedback. And let's be honest, compared to the destruction online that he faced for that performance, we were pretty tame. And I don't regret, as much as I appreciate this doesn't in any way make me go, oh, okay, then I'm more comfortable about having made fun of him because he's actually a disaster. I don't care. We were just having fun. That's it. It was always just that.
Yeah.
Rob.
I agree. Last week, the performance, and I made the comment when it was being played, like, is this as bad as Ashley Simpson's Orange Bowl performance, which was a performance that went down in the history books to the point where the entire stadium booed at her the second the lights went down. That's just a performance. I did have a comment on a lot of the protective order stuff. This gets my back up. Number one rule in the protective order, just as a general rule, the people that need them oftentimes don't seek them. The people that get them oftentimes don't need them. I hate seeing people abuse legal processes like this. So, yeah, there's two sides to every story. Research the facts.
This is Corey's mom.
Oh my gosh.
I'm so sorry.
Wow. I'm very, very sorry.
I'm so sorry, Mrs. Haim. I can't imagine. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
mean, not only having to deal with the grief that's involved with that kind of loss, but then having to have it come up so many times for years and years and years afterwards because someone else is using it for their own personal gain and in a way that's not even accurate or respectful of the person or your family or you is just also terrible.
Well, sorry.
Yeah.
My bad. Yeah.
And Mrs. Haim, if you're still watching, I think you were extremely gracious in that interview that we were looking at earlier, to where you could have easily said a lot of worse things and you kept your composure. And I think that's admirable. I hope that if ever I'm in a position like that, which I think is unimaginable, I hope that I will have the courage and grace that you had. Thank you for being a great example.
She has more. Those angels looked after me looked for me after their failed tour to tell me how he used them. How can any friend talk about someone who's not there to defend himself? Is that a good friend? Thank you.
There are people throughout history, and this is the kind of the point I was thinking. I was trying to figure out the words of how to say it. I do the trials of the century stuff, and it's looking at older, remarkably controversial trials.
Sure.
And one of the crazy things about it is that the narrative that becomes the mainstream media narrative, the mainstream narrative that we think, or a lot of people perceive about this, ends up being completely actual and factually false. And you think about how these people were vilified at the time, the McDonald's coffee cup case. You think about people, she was vilified at the time, made to be a horrible person because that's how the narrative was. And it only took years and decades. And now people are finally just kind of going, oh no, that was really horrible. In this particular moment, this is really hard because Mrs. Haim, I'm sorry, you are on a part of the media narrative that people aren't listening to, but it's not going to go unnoticed forever. It can't because true things and truth eventually does come out. And whether the justification, whether the course correction occurs now, 5 years from now, or at some point in time in the future, it's going to happen. So hold tight. Glad that you have support structure. I'm sorry for that loss.
Yeah.
And by the way, that's Spidey. That's part of why I'm doing this.
Yep.
Is not only an answer to the criticism, but it's like, you know what? Okay, this does need to come out.
I'll be here all day for this. For this, I'll be here all freaking day. And this is part of the reason. And it's crazy how it relates. This is part of the reason I never touched on Alex Jones on my channel. I wouldn't be able to stay impartial because when you are, and to a degree, it's the same thing. When you are speaking ill of someone who's not around and the experience of their parents, and as a parent, you're just sitting there and go, I can't imagine. I can never imagine what it's like to sit there and go, what are you talking about? Like in Mrs. Haim's case, like this representation, that's not my son. Or in the case of Sandy Hook, for them to say, no, my kid existed. What are you saying? You know, so like for me, like it's a reason I never went there because how do you analyze that? How do you analyze someone who's, you know, maybe has they think they have reason to believe something, but when you look at parents and say these things about their kids who are no longer here, I can't imagine.
Yeah, I'm sorry to go on the heavy note, but I'm maybe that's the blessing because I am interested in the story now. You know, I was deliberately saying, okay, got the Manson stuff and everything, but this is a deep story. I don't know if you guys know, I did the video on Tommy Morrison. I'm extremely proud of to have his widow on. Rob, you talk about reverse narratives. Do you know the Tommy Morrison story?
Mm-mm.
All right. Well, he was the boxer in Rocky V.
Yes, you mentioned yes. I do remember this one. You talked to me about this one. He was the boxer in Rocky V. They basically made him a pariah.
He quote tested positive for HIV.
Yeah,
was suspended from boxing. His life went into the gutter. He got involved with drugs, everything else, which happens sometimes with people as they lose their bearing. Ultimately, he then died in 2013, and the narrative was it was AIDS, except one problem: he never had HIV, and he never had AIDS, and he didn't have any AIDS diseases. An entire life ruined. The guy was going to fight Tyson.
Yeah, I'm sorry. For F's sake, like in the comments, stop dissecting every word out of my mouth. We know what Alex Jones said. He said they were acting, okay? Sorry, don't tell me that I didn't do my research because, he didn't say they didn't exist. He just said they died under different circumstances. Shut up. We know what he said. Sorry, Eric.
Spidey needs a unicorn.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
Spidey needs a unicorn.
What are you defending? Is that the hill you want to die on?
Nope. Spidey needs a unicorn.
Spidey, on America's Untold Stories.
Where's your turtle? Where's your turtle?
He's there.
All right, Spidey. I understand.
Eric, I apologize.
No, dude. I know Spidey has a personal experience, and it's not, and it makes it very, very difficult. So
I'm sorry.
No, I'm not trying to make light of it. I know of your personal experience. And
yeah, I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry, dude. Don't be sorry, dude. Anyway, I am very, very curious about the situation now, and I plan to, I'm going to have Suzi on. I'd love to have Julie on if she ever, wishes to come on. I understand that not everybody wants to talk about everything. It's very, very difficult. And I was blessed to have Trisha on talking about Tommy and his story, which went all the way to the Supreme Court. And people wanted to know, I'm sad to say, they didn't accept the case. It didn't make the docket, which it was an extremely long shot. And she was just trying to get the approval because they had tissue to prove again, because they found tissue of his to say, hey, he doesn't have AIDS, HIV, test it now, to help the case along. And they said no. But on that note, there you go, Georgina. Georgina's with you, Spidey. It's a real trigger for her, too.
Thank you, Georgina. Yeah. So again, sorry to everyone.
It's fine.
No,
Sorry.
it's okay. It's okay.
Real emotion. You're allowed to have real emotion, despite what some people like to say.
Yep.
So now on a catch-up note, sorry, I need to go over, because this is the kind of thing that would make me miss super chats again that I missed last week, because I get so involved. And folks, I hope you understand that it's not just a matter of being on here and performing. These are my friends, and our lives are so crazy and busy. Yeah, we do some texting on the side, but this is the most time I get to spend with Spidey or Rob or Alyte.
Yeah, it's
I mean, no, quite literally.
Yeah.
Otherwise I don't. I mean, Alita barely. I mean, I think we're like passing. It's like, drop a tweet 4 hours later, we may hear. It's like, okay, good. But so this is sacred time for us, and that's part of why I lose track of where I am as I'm in the mode. But last week, I want to get these super chats again. I'm so ashamed I actually missed this. Anyway, Tiffany Bernier for $1.99 pointed out the Say 10. Remember, he had that on his hand when he was doing the drunk interview, Marilyn Manson, is a song. But yes, it's an obvious connotation. Say it. What does it sound like? Duh. Satan.
Right. I did read that was a song of his. I didn't know that.
Okay. Crazy Cat Queen for $2 said, Rob, where is Ziggy Stardust? Give Ziggy a hug.
Is that from today or from last week?
Last week.
Either day.
No, these are last week's.
Either one. Ziggy's back at home. This is at my office. I don't have Ziggy here with me.
Okay. Tracy Fagan for $5 said, I grew up with Ozzy biting the head off of a bat, so MM's not so shocking.
True.
Tracy also said for $2, Rob, you look very confused. LOL.
Always. That's applicable no matter what.
That's part of this stream. That's kind of a natural state.
Yeah.
It's kind of dangerous, this stream, because I sometimes forget that there's like thousands of people watching, and I'm just like hanging with you guys. And
but that's what's cool about it.
Yeah. I love it.
Time Traveler for $10 said, 1, Corey is back on tour with No Angels. 2, some past angels have been suing him in small claims courts, alleging he never paid them for bad working conditions. He, hold on, mentions angels on the podcast at 59:30. Okay, that's probably Steve-O. Mr. Steve said for $5, just sad. Sandy Ramirez said Rob's for $5 said Rob's reactions are the best.
Oh, that was I know what the reaction was. I've never been so uncomfortable.
And this strange dude, Scott Cardinal, investigative historian, said, how come this is the second time on your show I am reminded of Mummenschanz? Is this on purpose, Eric? Jennifer Payton for $9.99 said, OMG, Rob, laughing emoji. Etienne de Gaulle, I hope I didn't mutilate. I hate it when somebody gets a super chat and I'm like, do I get their name right? I hope I got their name right.
I feel like I'm always apologizing for possibly mispronouncing someone's name.
For $5 said, I take it back. This is genius. I haven't laughed this hard since the last time I saw this performance. John Yarber for $5 said, didn't know Whoopi was a white guy. I saw that in the comments too, and it was like, Steve-O sounds like Whoopi Goldberg. And I was like, holy shit. I was just like, whoa, but it's true.
I'm.
You can't get out of your head. Once it clicks, you can't get it out. And then last one from last week. And again, thank you, everyone. I hope people from last week are watching. Seriously. Etienne de Gaulle, $5. Have you seen Corey Feldman's act? It's pretty cringe. I think he sabotaged himself. What would MM have to gain? Agreed.
I still can't get over the fact that it wasn't MM's bus. Like, he just once rented it. And he's like, you sabotaged the bus. What? Like,
because he touched it.
Yeah.
He soiled it with his hands.
Oh, it's just, it's completely crazy. And then thankfully, because this week, to compound to the embarrassment of last week and not doing super chats, this week the chat wasn't working. And thankfully, I have who I like to refer to as Super Mod, Secret McSquirrel, who was so kind to take screenshots of super chats and put them in and DM them to me in Twitter, which is so cool. She's awesome.
She's a super mod. She's like the best because not only does she like mod basically everyone's channels at this point.
I know it's crazy.
I don't know how she does it, but then also is like promoting the live streams on Twitter.
She does more promotion than I do for my own stream.
Making sure that
Eric on my stream. She came on my stream the other day, and she's like, "Remember to like everyone." And like, not even as a mod, McSquirrel, you are I hereby dub thee the first mod of the behavioral arts. Anytime.
I hope you've given it to her. Yeah, I mean, we're gonna be fighting each other over her. No,
you know that I have a members emoji that is a secret McSquirrel. It's a squirrel holding a wrench.
No way. No way. Oh, that's awesome.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
That is so cool.
Okay, if you're nice, I'll send it to you.
All right, Scott Cardinal was pointing out that Mama Sean's comments is in reference to Corey Feldman's faux ballet performance.
Yeah, he was wearing Mama Sean's outfit.
All right. Okay, so from earlier, I did get Georgina's Trufflehound from Australia, $30.99. Thank you. The old saying, wolves don't lose sleep over the opinions of sheep. Great saying, hard for my mouth to get out there. Nasty people take note. The only time LawTube loses sleep is when someone turns on the disco lights and soundboard. Oh. And Rob's trying to have that there. Georgina, another one.
The customer service, like when you're waiting.
Or we're in an elevator. Yeah, which floor are we going to?
Or something. Oh my.
Or like in a video game. Like in a video game when you're in an elevator, but in a video game.
Yep.
Yes. All right. Georgina sent a $25 super chat. Thank you. And Georgina, again. Wow. If I'm uncomfortable enough, I just stop watching that show. If that show is too much for me, I turn it off. Just that show. I like hearing the legal reviews. Truth of law, love learning. Thank you again, Georgina. Tracy R, $9.99. I understand and appreciate what all of you do. I get your essence. Laughing. Nobody here is mean-spirited. Really, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't sometimes. It kind of feels that way. So thank you.
Sometimes.
Mandalore Wise 01, $10. This concept is why I stopped accepting anything from a news source I know lied about a subject, much to my father's irritation. How can I trust anything NYT or HuffPost says now? I can't, so I don't. Ooh, I'm going to segue. Everybody needs to read The Gray Lady Winked. The paper of record, the New York Times, is historically garbage. And I will just tell you, they had headlines like Poland invaded Germany in 1930.
Or Kitty Genovese, which we just covered on Wednesday, where they said 38 people.
There are so many stories that they're on the wrong side of throughout history, but yet they're the paper of record. So everybody just note that I think that almost all media is garbage, and you have to really read. And what I have seen, and I encourage everybody to do this, is read the headline and then never stop in the article in the first 2 paragraphs. A high percentage of the time, by the time you hit the 5th or 6th paragraph, you'll find it actually argues against the headline. And that's 2 reasons. You have the dishonesty of some quote journalists. Alita might know one of them.
Sorry.
And also, though, to be fair, there are some who are legitimate, and then their editors come along and put a bullshit headline on.
But then sometimes, some people also decide to tweet things out and just dig themselves further into a hole, and then they just lie about DMs that they sent.
They love it.
Anyone who rhymes with Taylor Lorenz?
It is Taylor Lorenz. It doesn't rhyme with Taylor Lorenz.
I think about it,
I always love
Eric
that.
Hunley does rhyme with Eric Hunley.
It does. I don't want people to feel confused.
Eric, you're so woke with this opinion of mass media. I know you were this woke until just now.
That's right, man. I believe anything Wapo says. Anything at all. We Chic 99. Loved last week's stream. I laughed so hard and shared the video with my 17-year-old niece, which started a great conversation about child stars. Thank you for the content. And I did like that when we talked about how it is so hard for the child stars who struggle. I mean, it's just and see, now I can cover live ones. This is awesome.
Those are my favorite comments, by the way, Eric. The ones it's like you guys started a conversation in my house that kept continued on. Those are my favorites. I love those comments.
I totally agree.
Thank you,
Spidey
Thanks.
from Tish. And then again, Spidey, it's okay to be human and feel emotion. You're good.
Absolutely.
Aaron Z, Eric, you were great. Thanks for all the fantastic guests and content. All 3 of you guys are badass. Thank you very much. And I'm really, really honored to have these guys here. Trufflehound, Spidey's reaction. Guys, we literally talked about respectful comments. We know that Spidey reads everything. It takes nothing to allow a little grace and latitude.
Thank you, Trufflehound.
Scott Cardinal, the moment shots already said that.
Where is this one?
Super secret McSquirrel from Scott Cardinal.
Da-da-da.
And super sticker. I always like that because you don't see the sticker, you just see the description.
Lemon
the lemon character with baby lemon jumping in the air to do a high five. It's like, which is very, very funny.
That's really cute.
High Five Live.
High Five Live. And that is it for today, folks. Hope you enjoyed it. It's again a departure. I never know what I'm going to cover in the week or how we're going to cover it. We will continue on the sort of path, but you never know. You can influence us below with comments. Definitely. I'd love to know, how you're receiving it or not. And by the way, if you're really mean, I might bring them up too. That's content too.
Yeah.
I mean, but
I never lose my cool.
You're going to encourage them.
Yeah, I'm all for it. I never lose my cool. Fact.
Ever.
Ever.
Which we're fortunate for. There has to be at least one adult on this show. So thank you very much, Spidey. Thank you, Alita.
Thanks, Alita. I know.
Of course, it's Alita. We have 3 boys here.
No. Everyone knows I'm the emotional one here. Okay, I'm the woman. It's all the lady parts. It does it to my brain.
Yeah. I would highly challenge that. Anybody who thinks that that's the way it works, I would challenge that. I would highly challenge that.
Yes.
Look at me watching The Fault in Our Stars to see how emotional men get. Or what's the other one? My Sister's
Marley and Me.
Oh my God.
Marley and Me.
Oh,
The Fault in Our Stars and My
Marley and
Sister's
Me.
Keeper is like, for me, just I don't know what it is about both those movies that like just it's not. I can't. It's like the Alec Baldwin and Cameron Diaz in My Sister's Keeper. There's just something about that dynamic that like ruins me. Have you guys seen it, Eric? Have you seen it?
I have not, and I have spent so much time with Alec Baldwin that I really don't need any more time with Alec.
No, watch it. Alita, I guess you've seen it.
Last night.
Okay.
Alita, you've seen My Sister's Keeper?
Not My Sister's Keeper.
Fault
I
in Our
have
Stars?
seen the fault. I have seen The Fault in My Stars. I cry at movies all the time. Like it's all
Superman,
the
man.
time.
You're
All the
such a
time.
man. You're
But
such a
Rob,
man.
did you
can do that?
did you just now see The Godfather for the first time ever? Or
We're
is this
not
like a
talking about
repeat?
this.
What,
We're not talking
Yes,
about
we are. It came up. It is up.
Just
All
watch
right.
it.
I
this
I
is-
need to
No,
know this.
All right.
I have never seen it all the way
This-
through. When I was always get pulled on lacrosse buses as I was traveling to games, and it was always when we were falling asleep. Like it just I'd never. Truffle Hound. I love you and I hate you at the same time. Yeah. Well,
How?
So on that note, by the way, everybody, I've never made it through Blade Runner, ever.
That's
So
all right.
What?
that's my big one.
Oh, whatever.
see,
No,
that's
yell
a
at
good
him
one
now.
too.
There you go. I
Yell at
sleep
him.
every time. There we go. So on that note, everybody.